wide receiver is one of the more important positions for fantasy football. That and running back. And I feel like wide receiver, if you miss, that's a problem. Last year you had Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey early in rounds. Justin Jefferson was a dud. So here are 6 players that I am drafting in every single league, and I think you should be aware of these names as well. A lot of these names can finish potentially in the top 10, and I think we're going to go through it from the best names to the worst names. And in the first round, a name that busted last year, Justin Jefferson. A lot of people are like, I don't know what to think about the quarterback situation. Look at the season he had last year. J.J. McCarthy, not a good starting quarterback. Didn't have the best success at Michigan. I don't know why they rolled him out just to start. A washed Carson Wentz, a Max Brosmer, and J.J. McCarthy, and Jefferson still has 1,000 yards. The worst season of his career, but still not even a bad season, right? For one of the best receivers in the league, yes, he didn't have the best season last year, but JJ missed a lot of throws. And I think mentally that was just really frustrating as one of the receivers who's on the top of the, top 3, top 5, to be able to have that setback last year and now bringing a guy like Kyler Murray. This is going to be a Sam Darnold-like 2024 season where he will be a top 3 receiver this year. And I say Jefferson is a steal and he's a must draft because he's going as the wide receiver 6. I'm saying he's finishing top 3 right now. So Justin Jefferson, Kyler Murray is throwing the deep ball. You could argue the wide receiver, it's a crowded receiving room. I doubt it. Kevin O'Connell's going to get him the ball. He's the number 1 option. Expect 150 plus targets. I'd say 100 plus receptions, close to a 1,500 yard season, and one of the best receivers like we know him to be. Second name, Emeka Egbuka. I can't say enough good things about him. In terms of the Tampa Bay camp, the interesting thing that's being said is that he's not looking like the number 1 wide receiver. And what I mean by that is he's not looking like the most talented right now. Apparently, Tez Johnson is more explosive. But completely besides the point, he's getting the targets in this offense. He's getting the route share. Baker Mayfield's going to target him. So if we look at, obviously, last season, 127 targets, 63 catches, 938 yards. He had close to 700 yards through 9 games. I want to preface that. He was also battling injuries in the back half of the season. The one thing that you need to know about Emeka Egbuka is that he was a top 10 wide receiver through the first half of last season. If you owned any of Emeka Egbuka, you know what I'm talking about. The second half of the year was horrible. I think he only had 1 double-digit game in the last 8-9 games of the season. And that's tough. So I understand why we're like, I don't know if he's going to be that great. But if we look at the fact that Mike Evans is gone, yes, Chris Godwin is there. Baker could spread the ball around, sure. Zach Robinson is the new offensive coordinator for this team. They're going to bring Emeka Egbuka in motion. They're going to move him all around the offense. He's expected to be one of the better receivers in the league. And I feel like a second-year breakout is inevitable. He should have easily cracked 1,000 yards last year, but did not. And I feel like a lot of people that maybe drafted him last year are like, do we get burned again? He's the clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. And somebody who's going around his range that I don't think enough people are talking about, Ladd McConkey. This is the toughest thing here because between Egbuka and Ladd, they're both going in the same round. You can't go wrong with either player. I think these guys are both going to finish top 10. But when you look at both of these names, it's going to be tough in order to pick one or the other. Like I said, it really isn't going to matter tremendously. Ladd's right now, as my wide receiver rankings go, I have Ladd 6, Emeka 7, basically because Ladd's going to have more catches, right? So if we look at Ladd McConkey, the biggest thing you need to note is that there is no Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen had over 100 targets last year. If you look at Ladd's rookie year that they're not showing for some reason, he had 82 receptions, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's the kind of season that we expected from him last year. And a lot of people drafted him second round, and they probably don't want anything to do with him this year. Now he falls back around with no Keenan Allen. As long as they don't re-sign him like in September, that would be a little bit really irritating if it does happen. But besides the point, he's going to get over 100 targets. Mike McDaniel is now the new offensive coordinator. Yes, Hampton's going to be involved. Love Hampton. I don't even hate drafting Hampton and McConkey. But talking about receivers, he's going to get 130, maybe even 140 targets this year, 1,300 yards. I don't even hate that. He should have at least 75 plus catches, at least 1,000 yards, at least 5-6 touchdowns. So for Ladd, I think the only thing that's really is the strength of schedule. You look at Egbuka, third best schedule. Jefferson, first best schedule. That's what you're looking for a lot of these great receivers. So 3 down, 3 to go. Next name. It is a rookie, and I know it's pretty scary to put a rookie on this list, but look at what the situation is. Cam Ward, second season. There's a lot of unknown around rookie wide receivers. Last year, it really didn't pan out to be the best, at least. Emeka Egbuka last year, you had Tedero McMillan. They were solid, but I don't think anybody was a crazy big guy, big name player that put them over the top to win a championship. But if you do look at, the offense for the Tennessee Titans, one name that I'll put out there is Brian Dable, right? Brian Dable led the Giants offense with Malik Neighbors to be a top 5 fantasy wide receiver. We've seen it before with guys like Jamar Chase in their rookie year, Justin Jefferson to be a breakout in his rookie season in like the 8th round. So rookies are very fantasy viable, and I really do like the value of Carnell Tate. Now the problem is the other two names on the list, they're kind of going around the same range. But for Carnell Tate, you get him at a discount. People are just unsure. Is he going to be very good? This is potentially the Malik Neighbors in this offense, similar to what Brian Dable did in New York. I understand people may be concerned with, can Cam Ward do anything? Look at this. The Titans have not much of a run game, and their clear-cut number 1 wide receiver they drafted 4th overall. They're going to get him involved. Yes, Wandale could be something similar, but for a wide receiver who's going outside of the top 30 right now, yeah, Carnell Tate is listed as number 30. There's no way he doesn't finish at least top 20. So you're getting a steal there, and for a guy who can honestly potentially go on your bench. So love Carnell Tate. There's been a lot of good news in the training camp in terms of the chemistry between the two guys, and Cam Ward, Carnell Tate. I really love the fact that Brian Dable's there. But quickly on the rookie, because we got 2 more names here. Odunze. He's the clear number 1 wide receiver in this offense. You look at the numbers he had last year. He had 90 targets. He only played in 12 games. After his foot injury, tried to come back, 14 through 18, he missed. It happens, right? But Luther Burden is ranked so far ahead of Odunze. Odunze is 29 and Luther's 23. Just because Rome was out last year, I don't understand what the logic is. Luther Burden is the clear number 2 wide receiver. He's got the speed. He's got the route running. He's not the number 1 target in this offense. So why is he all of a sudden ranked 23 and your real wide receiver 1 is all the way down here at 29? So I don't know why I find that really fascinating. You guys can argue with me in the comments. But realistically, Odunze is going to have his first 1,000-yard season. If you look at the stats, they're probably not going to show from the last few years. Let's just go look at them. Rome has yet to break out. And I've kind of said the same thing with Marvin Harrison to where they're approaching their 3rd season, both these players. And 3rd season is kind of like, okay, if you're a real wide receiver 1, break out. Both players dealt with injuries last year, Marvin and Rome. I think both those guys are going to potentially be huge breakout potential league winners. Now, how much of a ceiling is Odunze going to have? That's up to interpretation, because you look at, obviously, the Bears crowded targets and Colston Loveland, DJ Moore's gone, obviously, and then Luther Burden. You're going to have some target out of the backfield. But realistically, I think DJ Moore leaving helps Rome. 90 targets through 12 games is really, really good. He didn't have much of a reception, but still, the thing I'm grasping is the target share. I don't know how you're justifying Luther Burden skyrocketing over Rome. Rome is going to be the number 1. You just take a look at Luther. I know this isn't a wide receivers to avoid, but don't draft Luther Burden. Just look at his numbers last year. He only had 2 games over double-digit points. Rome is the clear-cut, solid, safe choice. And if you look at some of his game logs, he played really well. He had 8 targets, 4 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown. He was the point getter for the first, 4 weeks of the season, and then he kind of fell off, had a good game, got hurt, tried to come back, just couldn't do it. I think he played with the foot injury for a couple of these games in the back half of the season, but if you're looking at this game log, 6 for 37 and touchdowns, 7 for 128 and 2 touchdowns, 3 for 62, you're telling me Luther Burden's going to compete for the number 1 wide receiver? I think you're crazy. Rome is the number 5, and last name, Parker Washington. Hear me out. This is going to be fun. Jaguars offense reminds me a lot of, obviously, Liam Cohen in 2024 with the Buccaneers. Parker Washington is the clear-cut slot wide receiver. In training camp, they're saying he's the wide receiver 1. I personally hate training camp rumors because it really doesn't mean anything. About 70% of what they say doesn't actually mean anything. And I want to make a video on that because there's really nothing to really overly get excited about for a training camp. But yeah, the fact that he is the number one target is good. I think it's kind of scaring some people though. But look at his game log. The back half of last season, he even got hurt in one of those games. From week 9 to week 18, he was the wide receiver 11. Wide receiver 11. You're telling me he barely started in the first half of the season. Started week 3 because Diami Brown was hurt. Didn't play week 4, 5, 6. Okay, they finally started in week 7. 8 was the bye. Then he got hurt. So you see what I'm saying here? The point I'm making here, Parker Washington is Chris Godwin from 2024. If anybody remembers Chris Godwin's crazy 7-game start, he averaged like over 80 yards a game. He was on pace for 1,400 yards, and then he had that crazy ankle injury. This is around the same range Godwin was going, and he was just this late-round slot receiver that we were like, I'm looking at the pattern right now because Liam Cohen, offense coordinator for the Bucs 2024. Let's get the ball to the slot receiver, move the chains. That's what Parker Washington is in this offense. Brian Thomas is your vertical threat. Jacoby Myers is your guy catching space. Maybe Travis Hunter will be a little bit of concern, but he looks to be playing corner most of the time. He's really only going to come in as wide receiver 20% of the time. So, I don't know. I'm really big on Parker Washington. I know it's hard to be so heavy driven on one guy, but everyone's kind of making the argument, Brian Thomas had more yards than him in his career. Yeah, it took him a while to break out, but he's a true number one target getter. I don't know what else to say. He actually proved himself last year from being the wide receiver 4 and filling in as the wide receiver 3. Part of the reason why Jacksonville said, okay, Travis Hunter, you can go play corner now is because they found their slot receiver. Parker Washington is going to be getting 60-70% of snaps. This is going to see a 3 wide receiver set a lot of the times, especially on third down. Also, Parker Washington, second in touchdowns last year behind Travis Etienne, who's not even on the team anymore. I absolutely love Parker Washington. Let's run through these names one more time. Justin Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka, McConkey, Carnell Tate, Odunze, and Parker Washington. I can't get enough of these guys. Another name you could even put out there, Marvin Harrison. But I just kind of wanted to share these with you. These are my thoughts on these players. Let me know what you think about them in the comments. Are you drafting them? Are you not drafting them? Let me hear, because I'm interested to see how everyone's draft is going. But thank you all for listening to the Must Draft 6 wide receivers you need to be on the lookout for fantasy football. I think a lot of these guys could win leagues. But thank you all for listening. This has been Mike Zanetti, the Big Z Breakdown. We'll see you in the next video.